I'm Justin Lesko, a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brown belt and former pro MMA fighter. It's just me tonight. Mike is off solving crimes and saving the world, but I have a very interesting guest that I'm excited to talk to. But before that, I just quickly want to tell you about a new company that we've partnered with. And as much as I'm a fan of this company, I'm even more of a fan of talking about them when Mike isn't here to defend himself. And that being said, Epic Roll can make even Mike look good. Epic Roll BJJ is a jiu-jitsu lifestyle brand with the goal of connecting the jiu-jitsu community while also helping you look your best both on and off the mat. They have t-shirts, rash guards, gis, shorts, hats, patches, accessories, artwork, basically anything you could ever possibly need related to jiu-jitsu can be found on their website, epicrollbjj.com. And if you use the coupon code podcast15, you can get 15% off your order. That's epicrollbjj.com, coupon code podcast15. I'll put a link to the site in the description below. You can also give them a follow on Instagram at epicrollbjj. And speaking of Instagram, if you spent any time on Instagram, you have for sure seen my guest tonight, or at least clips of him. He's one of those guys that no matter what he posts, it seems to get shared around and can go viral. And I've even shared some of his stuff on my personal page. He's doing a new thing now where he's putting out challenges to all of his followers. Anyone who wants to come and try a match against him and wager some cash, he'll take the challenge. I'm going to ask him about that, how he grew in popularity so quickly, and what brought him to the dark side of the leg lock game. Please welcome to the show the Allen Wrnech himself, Andre Allen. What's up, man? Thanks for coming on.
I'm good. I'm happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I said in my intro that I recorded earlier, you seem to be a person who, when you post something on Instagram, it tends to get shared a lot and sort of goes all over. I know I've put some of your stuff on my page too. So usually the first thing I always ask when people come on the show is just, what got you into jiu-jitsu and how did you come to find the sport?
So I found the sport by probably watching the UFC videos on YouTube. I was like I didn't understand what MMA or anything was. And I saw the UFC videos. And then that took me into Joe Rogan doing stuff with the vaporizer and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. And then that took me into watching Geo Martinez's highlight reels. And then I started like watching the DDS guys.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening, but I was doing high school wrestling and I saw Geo teach the truck from like 20 different positions and I didn't understand any of them. But I started doing the truck and like the electric chair on the wrestling guys.
Yeah, I love the twister. I love the truck. I think it's underutilized, undervalued position. But so you kind of went down the rabbit hole of the goofiest positions, and that sort of pulled you into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it was like the worst place to start. But yeah, so I got into that, and then I thought like the lockdown half guard was like the greatest thing ever. So I started doing lockdown half guard in the gym when I was starting as a white belt, and I like just did nothing but that for like a year and a half, and I just was like stalling from lockdown half guard, trying not to get tapped at all. But then I kind of started figuring out like you can't just do that. So I expanded the ideas.
And when did you first start training?
That would be like 20. First time I stepped on like a jujitsu mat would be like 2016, like early 2016, about 5 years ago.
Okay, and you're a blue belt now, right?
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of blue belts, as you so eloquently put it, hitting the Gary Tonin or hitting inside heel hooks in competition. And I think that's a little unusual.
Yeah.
But hearing how you kind of went down the rabbit hole of the weird stuff.
I'm like an outlier kind of. I spend a lot of time on the YouTube and like looking at these weird positions. Whenever a YouTube video comes out, I try to look at it and see if I can do it. But I spent a lot of time in the military for 4 years. I was in the Marines and like you get moved around. So I never like stayed with like one professor for too long. So I was a white belt for like a long time, and then I was a blue belt for a long time. because I kind of would like go place to place.
Where are you at now? Where are you training now?
I am in Massachusetts training at Brazilian Top Team.
And how long have you been there?
I've been there for a couple months.
Okay. Okay. They I know a lot of schools aren't too high on lower belt leg locks, so they admitted you to the ranks there.
Oh,
They
they're
knew what
great.
they were
Yeah,
getting.
they're great. They love the leg lock stuff. They're super like accepting of all the different styles.
Well, I'm a leg lock guy, so that's one of the things. Like when we talked to Kent Peters on the show, or like Lachlan Giles and stuff, like talking about leg lock early,
Hmm.
leg locks early. I think that it's an underrated thing, and obviously you have had a lot of success in competition with leg locks. I think that part of that is because people are like afraid of them, especially early on in their career. But would you say that that's definitively your style? Would you consider yourself a leg locker more than anything?
Um, yeah, yeah. Like right now, that's my thing. That's been my thing, like winning competitions wise for a while. But I do want to be more of an everything guy because I love like all of it. I love the whole style of the sport. So I do want to learn everything. I've been practicing like everything but the leg locks in the gym lately, but I seem to still get forced in them when I go into these competitions because I'm going against like good guys who I can't really beat with like normal stuff. So I guess, I got to go to the leg locks.
Well, what do you usually compete at? You usually compete at heavyweight?
Yeah, medium heavy 200. But
Because you don't look that big, so you have to be like the smaller guy in most of your divisions, right?
yeah, I'm like the shortest person in the division usually. 5'7", so pretty short.
Sometimes that works to an advantage, though. Sometimes people think the little guy.
Yeah,
You know
especially
what
with
I
the leg
mean?
lock stuff. Definitely.
I see, on your Instagram, you're competing a lot. It seems like you're competing like every weekend. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I seeing correctly?
I've been doing these fun matches with my followers. So like my followers will hit me up in my messages, and then I'll just go to wherever they are in Massachusetts, or they'll come to me. I had one guy come from like Rhode Island, I want to say. They were really cool stuff.
What started that? I know I saw you do the match with Tom DeBlass. Was that the first time you were like the challenger going to someone, and is that sort of how it started?
No, the first time I was a challenger is I went over. Well, I mean, I'm always like, yeah, that was the first time I was the challenger. Sorry about that. Yeah, but I go to other people's gyms a lot for that.
And was that sort of like what was the inspiration behind I'm gonna just start asking followers to come roll with me? Like what was behind that?
Definitely the like in gym call out matches that the Danaher guys used to do. I was like a really big fan of that. Gordon Ryan versus was it I, I don't think it was Halleck. I think it was Halleck Gracie in his gym, and like Nikki went to 10th Planet and fought Marvin Castell in his gym, and I was just super into that aesthetic. I think there's a huge advantage to filming the athletes standing right next to them from a marketing perspective. And I remember watching Five Grappling when that was still a thing, and that just looked beautiful. It looked like 100 times better than what ADCC was doing in like 2013 with their videography. Just having somebody with like a smartphone standing like half a foot away from you and like working around your bodies, that's just, you can't even beat that aesthetic. I think Polaris does that now too. So not having to wait in line to compete all day, and you just show up and do your match, and you have beautiful videography. That I like all that stuff because I'm trying to like grow my page and be marketable, and I get a lot of free gear. So I love trying to get views and do stuff that people are going to want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you do seem to get views. Like I said before, like I'm always scrolling through and I'm seeing people sharing your stuff, and sometimes they tag you and sometimes they don't, which annoys me when people share stuff that they don't tag it. But were you expecting that when you started your page? Were you expecting that to get shared? Like, was that the goal, or did it just kind of happen on its
It
own?
just happened. I started making these little video edits. I think like it's all basically Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan basically started sharing the edits I made of him, and he blew my page up like immediately. I think it was like I had like 200 followers on Instagram on this like sort of casual page with a couple of white belt matches, and like I used to do these little edits, but I made one video of like Gordon Ryan debating a SoundCloud rapper, and then he shared it, and my whole page just started blowing up like crazy. And I'm not making videos of Gordon just get views. I'm like a fan of his, and it's just something I feel like doing. But that is like what blows my page up every single time. It's like Gordon just decides to share or repost one of my videos, and like it's like 1,000 new followers overnight. It's crazy.
It's crazy when like that fire catches a little bit and your thing starts to just sort of spread on its own out of control.
Yeah, I'm in a position where I get all this marketing thrust on me, and I want to be a jujitsu guy and be successful at jujitsu one day, but it's like a lot of marketing that I got from not doing that. So people think I'm really good when I'm like not that like as good as people.
I don't know, man. I think you're doing you're underselling yourself a little bit. I see some of the techniques. I'm gonna keep going back to the I did a tone in, which was like you don't see that a lot in competition, let alone from you might be training for 6 years, but a blue belt in competition. I think people like seeing stuff like that, and they like seeing sort of outside the box, unconventional things, which that's a lot of stuff on your page, I think falls into that category.
Oh yeah, and I'm also underrated. I'm aware that I'm underrated. I think I'm overrated by some of my followers, but I'm underrated by a lot of people who don't follow me and don't like me because like you see a video of me getting my ass kicked in a competition. Not only are you seeing it because I posted the video, because I like choose to post videos because I think it doesn't matter if I win or I lose at this belt level, but I'm also fighting like brown belts and black belts and like purple belts. Like I almost never go against blue belts in competition because of what I compete in. And that's why I look like I'm like not being able to do anything because they're at a really high level and I can't I'm not athletically there yet. But when I go against like another blue belt, I look really good. And I think I don't want to be overrated or underrated. But yeah, I know that I'm also underrated sometimes.
Well, I mean, you did post the video of you versus Tom DeBlass, which it's Tom DeBlass, so I don't think that you can really take any too much criticism there, but posting matches that don't necessarily go your way, I think that the people just like to talk shit on Instagram, so
Oh my god, yeah,
my advice would be don't read too much into it.
yeah. It makes me sad because some of these guys are like black belts talking smack to me, and it makes me upset because they're really like, these are people I look up to, and they're like, "Oh, you suck. You can't even get out of the position," and I'm like, "It's like, come on, he's really good. I'm new to the sport.
Yeah.
Got my foot in
You
the
just
door.
say not yet. When they
Not
say you
yet,
can't get out of
exactly.
this, not yet.
Can't
Not
get out of
yet.
side control yet."
Well, I know you had said you were in the Marines. What do you do now, and how do you balance that with training? Are you able to train full time, or do you have a day job?
Oh, I just got out like pretty recently, so I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I am. I'm working part time and I'm training like pretty much full time with the hours I work. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
And you said you were in the Marines for 4 years.
yeah.
Was that something you always felt called to do, or like what brought you to the Marines? No.
I was like a total shithead in high school, and then I got out of high school and I just like jumped straight to the recruiter's office. Well, I went there when I was in high school. I really didn't want to go to college because I didn't feel ready for the responsibility. So I went to the recruiter's office, and then I waited like 3 months after I got out of high school, and then that was my ship date, and then I went, and I was just in for 4 years. I was in Japan for 2 years, training under Cavarina Jiu Jitsu Academy. That was where I developed a lot of these leg locks, and then coming back from there, I went to California, and there I got stationed at Camp Pendleton, and I trained under Geo Martinez for 10 months. And that was
Oh,
crazy
nice.
because Geo was like the first pure jujitsu guy that I actually started watching footage of. And I was like a huge fan of him before I even knew what jujitsu was. and I got to train under him for 10 months. It was insane. I rolled with him like every single day, and it was just a total trip.
That's one of the cool things about jiu-jitsu. Like, if you like basketball, you can't just go play a game with LeBron James for fun. But you can go roll with Geo Martinez every single day, and he's one of the top guys in this sport.
Yeah.
Now, I saw you had videos rolling with Craig Jones, which I think was at one of his seminars. You've trained with Geo. I saw you had a shout out picture with Uriah Faber. Like, you've made the rounds. You've
Oh
been
yeah,
with a lot of these guys.
I'm stalking everyone. I'm simping for everyone. You gotta hedge your bets because I'm always making people mad. So whoever dumps me, I go into the arms of their enemies. Whoever doesn't want to answer my fan mail or fucking repost my shit, I'm going to their, the counter memes begin.
Of the people you've rolled with, Tom DeBlass, Craig Jones, rolling with Geo, have you been able to take things from all of them and incorporate them into your game? Like, who would you say you've taken the most from?
The most from was definitely Geo Martinez. His leg lock defense and double seated guard game is something that he doesn't even talk about a lot, and you never see from other people. Like, he has the same thing going on as like the Meow brothers, and Junior Ocasio is doing it now too. And did well against his match with Geo. But Geo's ability to like counter leg locks and sit on his butt and put in these like seated X guard hooks when you're both sitting on your butt and then get on top for the pass. That is probably the biggest thing I've taken away from him. And I do that a lot now, especially when going for the leg locks, is being able to not get the leg lock. So you go into putting in like X hooks and then you do a technical stand up and get up to get the sweep points and go for the guard pass. Not everybody knows how to do that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be sort of the next step, where for a while it was, if you knew leg locks, you were the step ahead of everybody else. And now as the field like levels out and people catch up with their leg lock defense, it's going to be who can use the leg locks to get to the pass or get to the dominant position. It's not just fall back and hope it works.
That's especially true of lightweights right now. I think the lightweight divisions are approaching this point. In the gi, you see it with the Berimbolo, but like you see when Geo goes up against somebody like Juni Ocasio or Paulo Miao or Gianni Grippo, when these guys all fight each other, they're not leg locking each other because they're all so good at it. So they spend a lot of time in double seated guard, and it's about who can come up for the pass a lot of the time. And they're always knocking each other down. And it's this crazy game that I think the lightweight division is really like collapsing into. And I don't think anybody really has a way to break out of it yet. It's like what Baron-Bolos did to the gi.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the gi, do you train in the gi? I don't really see too much of that on your page.
Oh yeah, I mostly train in the gi. I'm like, that's most of the classes at BTT are in the gi, so I train in the gi mostly.
Okay, I mean, I figured. I wouldn't know if there was any ulterior. I'm not seeing too many gi posts. If there was hiding it a little bit if you didn't like it, but
I think I have like more to offer the followers without the gi on, of like what they want. Like sometimes like followers ask for like questions or content, and I did one gi match, and I've done a couple of gi competitions, but I think I'm really kind of marketing as a no gi guy. But the gi stuff, I mean, I do like white belt basics in the gi, but I'm really not as good in the gi as I am in the no gi.
You and I have similar mentalities on our no gi stuff. So in the gi, I love Keenan stuff. I love playing lapel guard, worm guard. I love anything like side control, lapel chokes, anything kind of goofy, untraditional. So since we have similar mindsets in no gi, maybe I'll slide you a few Keenan videos for you to start stealing some of his stuff too.
Yeah, I have this like 15-year-old kid in the gym who like puts me in worm guard and squid guard all the time, and I have no idea how to break the grip still, and I keep getting swept, and I just don't know what to do. It's insane. Worm guard is awesome.
I love anything unconventional and slightly weird. So, have you ever encountered situations where you've been at schools where they didn't want you to film? Have you ever run into problems with people getting upset if you post stuff?
I mean, most of the content I make now is not at my school. It's like it's at other people's gyms doing these challenge matches and stuff like that. Uh, I don't think I post a lot in the gym except when I get like gear. I'll take like a selfie in the gear. But either way, my gym's cool with it. They're very they're it's very cool team. Total really relaxed. They let you kind of take your own style in jujitsu.
I always just told everyone that I rolled with that, like, hey, I'm filming this roll. If something cool happens, I'll probably post it. So if you do something cool, I'll post that too. So it's like an extra incentive for them to try to beat the shit out of you because they might make the gram if they do something cool to you.
Yeah, that's like a thing. I yeah yeah. I totally will post when my teammates tap me. I post that too.
It's
Or
only
or
fair.
or when I lose, I'll post when I lose too. I think that's part of it. A lot of people
Yeah.
pretend like they don't lose on the internet, and I'm not gonna name any names, but some people literally like are at like low levels and they pretend like they don't lose any matches. It's a little bit annoying. And a lot of people won't compete because they don't want to lose at really low like belt levels, like blue to brown belt. Not competing because you're scared of losing is I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had the mentality of if I lose, it's just a jujitsu match. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
okay to lose. It's not the end of the world if you lose a match. And I can understand the sentiment of maybe I don't want to post me getting demolished by somebody, but you don't have to pretend like you didn't compete and you didn't lose. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and the internet's forever, of course. So if you lose a match, people could always like scroll back and to the or look it up on the YouTube when you're a world famous black belt and see videos of you losing matches terribly. And that gets in people's heads too. I think they're worried about the long game of
Right.
marketing. I meet so many people who don't want to step on a competition mat until they get really, really, really good at jujitsu and they want to like be the best in the world. And I don't know. I don't think that's ever worked for anybody. Maybe it's like a real thing, but I don't think it's ever worked for anyone before doing that.
Well, I think if you want to be one of the best in the world at competing, you have to compete.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
competing is a skill by itself, not just the technique you use in the competition. So if you get to black belt and you're killing it in the gym, but you don't know what it's like to compete, when you go to the worlds, you're probably going to struggle because that's the very first time you're competing. So I think it's sort of like the leg lock games, like better earlier than later to get started with it. Like don't do yourself a disservice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's part of the reason I'm doing these little challenge fights is to get me better. Having someone come in the gym, it doesn't take any time out of my day at all. And I'm just like, okay, try to kill me, and you get $100 if you win from the sponsors. And that is totally different than rolling in the gym. I think it's just really helpful, like different pace to set. There's real stakes. You only get one try to win this thing.
Have you ever had a challenge match where the person was really not super cool? Like, it seems like everyone comes in with a good mentality and you have a good time with it. Has anyone ever been super pissed that they lost or super aggressive when they won?
No, no, definitely not. It was I've had like 11 so far, I want to say, and they've all been like really, really cool guys. I won't take on anybody on the internet if they are like mean to me or if they have like issues with me because I don't want to get like, I want to be able to tap out to these submissions, first of all.
Yeah.
Because if you fight someone over a grudge match, they'll hold submissions a little bit late, and that's never good. You have people like that. And even if I could beat somebody, I don't want to like beat somebody who I disagree with and then or someone who's trolling me and then like be like gloat about it or whatever. I just don't want any of that negative energy.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between a grudge match and a challenge match. A challenge match is like a good natured, we're challenging each other against each other, and a grudge match is like, hey, this might turn into an MMA fight if I don't bring my friends to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I had this weird like kind of like I don't even know what his deal was, but he was like talking crap to me and he wanted to do like a CJJ match or whatever. And I said, yeah, sure,
Mm.
come up here or something. And he's like, oh no, you come to Florida. And I'm like, oh, you're in Florida. Okay, never mind. We were like But I don't want to do that again. I would never want to do some like negative grudge match thing if it wasn't for like a lot of money and it was like a really important thing, and I would have a half decent chance of winning it. I don't think it's worth it to do that stuff for free because you can really get injured. And I have friends who have been, injured in matches from people who aren't nice.
Yeah, you want to do it for fun, and that's not good content. You can't produce good content if one of you gets murdered. So
there's another element where this whole sport is about like breaking limbs and hurting each other, and it's all done in this respectful space. And if a match ends with like an injury, which it does a lot of the time when you're being competitive, that's like a different outcome. Like if I think I got a pop on one of my followers' legs like towards the early matches, and we were just like all love and we were hugging and we were doing like rolling after, and we made a whole vlog about it. But if that happened to somebody I didn't like, that might reflect like I injured that person on purpose, and also they would be extremely mad at me and unpleasant to people who are around this instead of having some sportsmanship after the fact.
You said you did like 11 or so matches. Do you have anything lined up now? Anyone on the schedule?
I'm going to be competing at Emerald City Invitational in Philadelphia on April 10th.
Oh, you are?
Against another blue belt, yeah.
Who are you competing against? Do you know the guy?
I'd have to leave the Zoom call and look up his name, but
don't worry about it. It's not that important.
I do have access to who this person is.
I saw that Emerald City, we're like right outside of Philadelphia. That's right down the street from us. And I saw that they were starting to leak out some of the matches. I didn't know you were competing there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we should get lunch. We should get lunch.
Yeah.
Buy me lunch.
What's that was a nice. The budget for this show is not as big as you might think it is, but
yeah.
That should be a good card though. That there's a lot of good fights they're putting on in that card, which sort of came out of nowhere. I didn't even like hear about it, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, here's this big event.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm going to be competing on Flow Grappling, so I'm really happy and I'm looking forward to it a lot.
And you won't have to provide your own camera angles. They'll have multiple cameras, so you don't have just the one stationary. So you'll be able to get content.
Okay, but like even then, I'm saying like what I do is like way better than what you can do with 3 professional cameras. If you just choose to leave them off the mat, it's so much better to have a camera on the mat. And Polaris does this perfectly.
Yeah. You need like the ref cam. Like remember Pride used to have like the ref cam with the goggles? Like,
yeah,
that's the best view in the house, man. Especially when the positions change so quickly. But so that's April 10th. Is there anything before then? Any matches, challenge matches? Or you're just going to be training hard, getting ready for that?
Yeah, we're looking at doing something Tuesday. Something might be dropping Tuesday.
Okay. So we have so you can tell me that I can look forward to some challenge match videos coming soon. You have content working. Where should people be looking?
Oh, it's the Allen Wrnech.
Which is a good name. It's a good name, I think.
Thank you.
Good luck on April 10th. We'll be in the area. I'm not sure if we'll be what the COVID rules are about coming into these buildings, but if I don't talk to you beforehand, keep putting out videos because I like sharing them and I like seeing you do these challenge matches. And then maybe we can get you to come back on after the match on the 10th and break it down for us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that you want to talk to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. A big thank you to Andre Allen for coming on and talking tonight. I'll put a link to his Instagram below in the description, so hit him up if you want to challenge him for some cash, and be sure to let us know when that happens. I'll also link below to Epic Roll's site, epicrollbjj.com. Make sure you use the coupon code podcast15 and get 15% off your order. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you guys all next time.